We already know what checkerboard rendering is, but how much of a performance does it allow to save on PlayStation 4 Pro? Stay tuned for more. Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Mads and you're watching the Mads Gaming News channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook, so check the links in the description of this video below. And also don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell button to stay up to date with the latest news. So this information is a courtesy of gearnuke.com, link in the description of this video below. PlayStation 4 Pro utilizes a new type of rendering technology called checkerboard rendering that allows the developers to render at higher resolution without sacrificing performance. This method is used in majority of games that utilize the PlayStation 4 Pro extra power, including some of the launched games like Infamous Second Son and Knack. Recently, the Frostbite Labs developer Graham Wichildal talked about the checkerboard rendering solution that they utilized for Battlefield 1 and Mass Effect Andromeda on PlayStation 4 Pro at GDC 2017. The reason developers have opted to render at 1800p checkerboard resolution instead of native 4K or native 1800p is simply because of the fact that performance takes a hit with a high rendering resolution. However, thanks to some of the features like 16-bit floating points and rendering methods provided by the PlayStation 4 Pro, the developers have the ability to render at 1800p without sacrificing much of the image quality or performance. And during the show, they actually presented a couple of slides showing the real numbers, talking about what sort of difference the checkerboard solution actually makes. So the first screenshot that you are looking right now is a screenshot taken from Battlefield 1 on PlayStation 4 Pro, obviously, and in the right up corner you see the 1800p CB, which stands for checkerboard rendering, and you've got a number which is 15.99 milliseconds. So that actually points to the fact that in checkerboard rendering 1800p it takes 15.99 milliseconds to render one frame. In 1800p native and the 1800p, the very same scene would actually take 21.07 milliseconds. So you see a difference here. We actually, with checkerboard resolution, with checkerboard technique, developer actually is able to save around 30% of performance, right? So thanks to that, they can actually use it for some other tasks as well. Now, another screenshot is a screenshot taken from Mass Effect Andromeda, taken from on PlayStation 4 Pro, obviously, and you've got the same situation. 1800p checkerboard rendered takes around 23 milliseconds, 23.42 milliseconds to render, whereas using the native 1800p, it takes 36.82 milliseconds to render one frame. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed, there's a huge gap in terms of like how long does it take to render the frame. Now remember that Battlefield 1 is a 60 frames per second game, so obviously they need to render the frame faster. So that's why even using checkerboard rendering, the Battlefield needs to render twice as many frames, so that's why the actual render time needs to be lower. Whereas on the Mass Effect Andromeda, it may actually take longer because they are rendering this game at 30 frames per second, at least on PlayStation 4 Pro and PlayStation 4. So in a Mass Effect Andromeda case, developers are actually saving around, I would say, 40% of the performance, which is pretty a nice indicator that the checkerboard rendering is really saving a lot of a lot of juice. Now another screen that they actually showed is that there's all kinds of different graphical tasks, and obviously you've got how much time does it actually take to render or make this process per frame, really, not even second but frame. So like in this particular case, the difference between Checkerboard rendering 1800p versus native 1800p is 5 milliseconds, really. So it saves around 5 milliseconds, right? Now another screenshot is obviously pretty much the same, the same sort of effects but different game. That's Mass Effect Andromeda, and in this game they are able to save around 30.4 milliseconds per frame, per second, per frame. Now another one is obviously Battlefield 1 again, and you've got the G buffer, shadows, lighting, sky, half resolution, velocity, HBAO, and you've got how long does it take to actually render or process one particular task, right? And you can clearly see that the actual difference is pretty big. I mean, like sky is like 0.32 milliseconds versus 0.36. It's like 50. It's like 50%. 100% difference, really, between the Checkerboard and native, and other as well. So it actually does save a lot of time and performance. The same sort of chart but for different game, so that's Mass Effect Andromeda again, and we are actually seeing the same. So a huge time savings, which obviously allows to push better performance and stuff, right? So generally speaking, we already know that PlayStation 4 Pro obviously is using all kinds of techniques to actually hit their higher resolutions and stuff. Otherwise, we would actually have to deal with games in 1440p max if we're talking about native resolutions, whereas the Checkerboard rendering allows for higher resolution picture. It is sort of a way around displaying the the image, but if it produces the image quality good enough and it's really difficult to spot the difference, then that's fine with me, to be honest with you. Especially the PlayStation 4 Pro is not really a huge of an upgrade in terms of like CPU and memory. Obviously the GPU does come with a much more raw performance, but CPU and memory didn't really come with it, to be honest with you. So the games looks really good. The patched games really do not really bring too much of a difference apart from the high resolution, which obviously makes the games to actually look better, and the image is more crisp and stuff. So it is what it is. PlayStation 4 Pro do not really offers our next generation really graphics, but this is not something that we should expect from upgrade of one console, right? And I think that wraps up this video, really. So thank you very much for tuning in and obviously sharing all my videos with others. I really do appreciate that. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, and if you did, you know the drill. Let me know what you think about it. Comment in the comment section below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and you take care. Bye.
Zamiast przygody znaleźliśmy strach, a jedynym wspólnym mianownikiem okazała się śmierć.